Welcome to another episode of Streamin with a Purpose. It's time to be inspired and motivated to live your best life on purpose. On Streamin with a Purpose, hear the stories of people who have, despite the odds, dealt with the challenges that life sometimes brings, but who still manage to overcome those odds. If you think life is tough and you have to settle for where you are, my guests and I are here to tell you, you don't have to. I speak to people who were once where you are and are now living their purpose, and I want to encourage you to live your life to the fullest. I am your host, Sylvia Montgomery. Let's take a listen to our next guest. Hello and welcome to another episode of Streamin with a Purpose. I'm your host, Sylvia Montgomery. And if you are an introvert, you will appreciate our guest today. Today, I'm talking with Inga Faison-Cavitt. How are you today, Inga?
I am doing so great, Sylvia. Thank you so much for having me today.
You're so welcome. Thank you for being here. Now, before we get started, let me just share a little bit about Ingafay, of whom she likes to be called. So we'll call her Ingafay. Now, Ingafay is an introvert advantage strategist. You had me right there, okay? With me being an introvert myself, really on the far end of the spectrum. Ingafay left her engineering career to follow her entrepreneur spirit and now pursues her dream life full of faith, family, freedom, flexibility, and fitness. She is in the top 5% of her direct sales company and has earned 2 cars and 4 diamond rings. 4 diamond rings. She enjoys empowering established female CEOs and solopreneurs with introverted tendencies to live their best lives and help them scale their businesses without sacrificing their authenticity or energy. And she does this through her various program offerings. Now, Inga Faye, also, a little bird told me that you've been featured on Fox TV News, Gulf Coast Women, Head to Toe, Possible Women, No Magazines, and many other podcasts, including today's podcast. So, Inga Faye, it sounds like you know how socially draining networking and marketing can be for introverted people like myself. So I'd love to hear your story and what led you to starting this company, and how does what you do translate to you living your purpose?
Thank you. Yes, so that's a mouthful, right? So, yeah, my name is Inga, and I'm super excited to be here today. And really, my journey, me starting this whole thing started when I was in direct sales because I was being trained by extroverts. And most marketing is for extroverts. So when I started my direct sales business, I felt like I was putting on this facade of being someone that I actually wasn't. And it was so draining to me. I used to think, why am I so tired? And I would think, well, maybe it's because you've worked, you've coming off from work and now you're doing your your business on the side and you've been at work all day. But I really realized over time that it was because I was expending all of this energy acting like an extrovert. So I wanted to really help people that are like me, that whether they be an ambivert, someone that has extrovert tendencies, but they still need to go home and recharge, or a straight up introvert. Introverts are similar to cell phones. Anytime we interact, like when you get on your cell phone, you're texting, you're calling, you're on the internet, the battery goes down. Well, that's how we are. And we have to really be strategic on how we spend our energy to build and grow and expand our businesses. So this, I really wasn't able to like really step out of my comfort zone until COVID, because at that point, everybody was scrambling, right? Everybody was trying to figure out, how am I going to market my business? I can't do what I used to be able to do. So being that I'm an engineer anyway, and a trained problem solver, and just curious, just naturally curious, I started just kind of playing around with different things to see what I could do, because I no longer could go to my mentor because she was clueless too. So it was just a matter of just kind of trying stuff out, seeing what worked. And then if I liked it, I would continue to do it and just kind of tracking the process, similar to what we do as entrepreneurs anyway. But I was really, it really just kind of gave me the freedom to do that because nothing else, I mean, nothing else was really working. And from that experience, it evolved with me working with direct sellers initially. And then I quickly found out, well, they didn't really want to spend money because they felt like their company was going to train them. So then I moved on to coaches and consultants, and then that was working a little bit, but I still really didn't feel like I found the people that I really wanted to connect with, because a lot of the folks that I was connecting with were at the very beginning of their business. And you know how that goes. You don't have a whole lot of money when you're just starting off, not really able to invest in yourself unless you were working a full-time job. So then it became more of, okay, I'm going to really work with established women that I know that could really pay me, and they understand the value of really scaling their business without trying to fake like they're being somebody else, because they got a whole bunch of other stuff going on. And granted, they need to do their marketing and their sales, but they got other stuff on the back end that they need to do too. So it's more of a strategic matter of how they're going to grow their business strategically while also still having energy to do some of the other things they needed to do in their business. And that's where the Introvert Advantage Accelerator evolved from.
Wow, awesome, Inga. Now, I did go on your website and I saw you have a lot of offerings. You have quite a few offerings on your website of what you do, an accelerator program, and some other things. Do you want to talk a little bit more? Because, you're also focusing on multiple streams of income as well, and that's
Right.
a big thing for me because, even if you have a business, you are constantly trying to look for ways different ways to, to pull additional
Oh,
income
exactly.
in, whether it's from your own business, having
Right.
multiple avenues to stream income from, or whether it's different things that you're doing outside of your business.
Exactly.
I don't know if you want to speak to some of the various offerings that you have.
Yeah, sure. So again, being an introvert is very imperative that you have offers that don't necessarily require you to be around, right? Because we already talked about how that drains us out. So I have several digital products that are available for my Introvert Advantage collective community. The first one is the Savvy survey system. And basically, that was kind of my bread and butter during that time where I was kind of figuring out how I was going to grow my direct sales business during COVID. And it was through surveys because I was really able to ask people exactly what they want, more so than assuming that what I had is what they needed. And so that became something that I quickly got a better sense of, is really what the customer wanted more so than what I thought the benefits were that they wanted. So I have that. I also have for my fellow introverts what I call 50 conversation starters. And that's for the introvert that wants to go to a networking event, looking to maybe meet 2 to 3 people, but not really sure how to start the conversation and really don't want to be that shy girl in the corner, but really want to expand and grow her network, and just giving them some prompts on exactly how to start the conversation so it can kind of be naturally flow and really connect with folks more so than trying to sell them. Then in addition to that, I have a outreach tracker, which allows you to track your outreach to find out what the next step is in the outreach journey for the person that you're connecting with, because there is a journey. It's very similar to dating. Your significant other, you didn't start talking to them today and marry them tomorrow. And marriage is, to me, in the business world, is somebody buying something from you. It takes time for them to build that know, like, and trust. So that tracker is really going to help you track that relationship and really know what your next step is when it comes to interacting with the folks that you're meeting. And then I also have a transformational coaching session. Is kind of just an introduction to my coaching style for those that may not necessarily be ready to invest in the bigger coaching programs, but gives them an opportunity to have me as their coach for 30 minutes, where we kind of talk about their number one challenge, and figure out a way to, we'll give them a roadmap on how they can solve that problem. In the frameworks and techniques that I have. And then definitely last but not least is my coaching program, where I help people attract and keep more clients. That is a 6-month program that's either a VIP one-on-one or a group session, or it can, the other session would be systemization and scaling. So it's really helping people not have to be a slave to their business and be able to have their business thrive without them being there. So they can really take a vacation. So that those are typically the things I have to offer. I also have merchandise too, where they can kind of show off their introvert pride with some of the things we have with t-shirts and joggers and mugs and that kind of thing. But that's typically what we offer our community and those that want to be evangelists for us.
Awesome. I've seen your merch. And so, I mean, you are serious. I love how you have just taken a single thought and made it into you've got a store. I mean, and you've got all of these various offerings. And this is what every entrepreneur, whether female or not, needs to know
Exactly.
because, building your business and scaling your business, right?
Yes.
And what you're doing is helping people to scale their businesses to a whole different level so
Right.
that you don't have to spend every minute of your waking day working so
Exactly.
rigorously. And so many of those things I can relate to because networking has always been an issue for me. Going to an event, if I'm by myself, what do I
Hmm.
say? I
Exactly.
have had a habit of just standing around and just eating on my little hors d'oeuvres, because you don't know what else to do.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
the 30-day tracker or 90-day tracker is an awesome thing. That sounds really awesome. I could see myself actually needing that today. And just getting that individual training, that one-on-one training. So, I mean, and even if it's in a group environment still,
Yeah.
depending on what works best for the individual. So these are some awesome, awesome offerings, Inga. I just applaud you on, and you've done all of this since 2020.
Since 2021, I guess I didn't officially start my business until 2021. A lot of the stuff I learned in my direct sales business that
Mhm.
I then translated over to just helping CEOs and solo entrepreneurs expand and grow.
Well, there you go. We start one place, and sometimes we start someplace because that's just the start of what's
Exactly.
next, of
Yep.
what's to come down the road. So you needed to have that experience in order to get to where you are today. Now, where you'll be next year or 5 years from now, who knows? But
Exactly.
you have certainly made some waves along the way. So congratulations to you. Now, Inga, you did come from the corporate world, correct? From the
Mhm.
engineering. How challenging was it for you to leave the corporate to step fully into your purpose and earn a stream of income from your purpose? Was this a gradual transition for
Yeah,
you?
it was definitely gradual. One of the blessings that I did have is that when I left corporate, I was laid off. So I had a nest egg that gave me some runway to kind of figure things out along the way. I am a firm believer in education, so I did make it a point to invest in my business and in myself, personal development. And I believe that all of the things that I've created and come up with and the place that my business is in right now is because of that. I think a lot of people don't want to make that investment, but the thing about it is when you're a business owner, you get to write that investment off. Unlike when we went to school and we spent money getting 2, 3, 4, 5 degrees, right? We can't write that off. But people are so willing to do that because that's what people normally do. But when you make those investments in your business, it's a write-off. So it not only helps you, you know, retain the information that you had and get the necessary knowledge that you need to grow and expand, but then you're also able to use it as an expense that will save you money on your taxes in the end. So to me, it's a win-win all the way around. Unlike when we were working for somebody else and we couldn't do any of that. So,
Absolutely. That's the benefit of being your own boss. And,
yes.
and I love how you started off your response. One of the advantages of being laid off. Many people wouldn't see being laid off as an advantage anywhere at all.
Yeah.
I remember I left my 30-year, I had been with the federal government for 30 years. And in
Wow.
2019, I left it because I wasn't ready. And I wasn't probably as prepared as you financially. I was not, because it's not what I had planned to do. I
Mm,
left because of the circumstances. And I
mm,
just felt like God was calling me to something different. And He didn't
yeah,
want me to stay in that environment. And this was 2018. So I left believing that there was something else for me at that
yeah,
time. So um, there were other people who left also, but they left not feeling good about it. And they left bitter and
mm,
pretty upset.
yeah.
But I
Well,
was
entrepreneurship is not for everybody. You know how that goes.
just leaving the job. I don't know what they did afterwards, but
Yeah.
it was just the fact that they left the way they left after being on that job for so many years. But I
Mm,
left feeling optimistic about the future. And I
yeah.
think that, when we can do that, sometimes again, when things happen, what God may be doing is closing this door. And it may be a door that you've been in for so long
Mhm.
that you're so comfortable
Exactly.
there, and you feel like it's home for you, and you feel like it's where you belong, and you feel like that's where I'm supposed to be until I don't want to be here anymore. I don't
Exactly.
feel like I feel like right now I'm being forced from being where I want to be.
Right.
But when I left, I just left believing there was something else. And I
Yeah.
think that that's just part of that positive mindset
Hmm.
that we have to have going in. And I did know for me, myself, that God did want me to start my own business, to do my own thing. I don't
Yeah.
know about anyone else, but that's what He had been telling me. And so I was pretty excited about it. Didn't know what it would involve, didn't know what it would entail. I really did not. But always, when that door closes, our mindset should be there's something better.
Yep.
Rather than
I-
leaving bitter, just knowing that there is something better. And I don't know who this is for, but things are happening all the time around us.
Yes.
Things happen just at the top of this year or last
Hmm.
year.
Yep.
And sometimes we can take that as an explanation to start our own business, possibly, maybe
Hmm.
not, to do something different,
Yep.
or just going on to something better
Yeah.
that's meant for us. And so I love that you talked about the advantage of not having that job anymore. So that's a great thing. Can you describe some of the challenges that you did have along the way as you were transitioning from the corporate to being your own boss or entrepreneur?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the first and foremost was your day. You know, when you're working for somebody, your day is somewhat not really yours. I mean, they're kind of telling you what to do. You have this meeting at such and such time, and you can only have lunch for 30 minutes. And I mean, it's very structured.
Yeah.
And I remember telling people that I was working for myself. So then I would have people tell me, "Oh, well, girl, now you can sleep in." Okay, well, no, it don't work that way. This is even more of a reason why I have to be in control of my time because I don't have a guaranteed check coming in on the 15th and the 30th anymore. You know, I'm now working for myself. I don't have what my one of my buddies would call an in plant vacation day where you just walk around and talk to people and don't do nothing. Those days were over when it comes to entrepreneurship. You got to
Right.
make that cash register ring.
Mhm.
So that was really a big thing for me. Another thing was just being grateful for where I am. You know, we oftentimes you have these dreams and aspirations of what you want to do, and they're always getting higher, right? It's a never ending cycle. It's something that it's a staircase that you never see the top of, because once you hit one goal, you say you want to do something else. And being able to really be grateful for the journey that you're going through, that every little step that you take is getting you closer to that place. And just because you're not there yet today does not mean that you're failing. It means that you're gradually working to get there and being able to document where
Mhm.
you were to where you are now and really being able to see the progress. And then the third thing I would have to say would be that failing is learning. That was the biggest mindset shift for me because I thought failing was bad. I mean, when I was in school, you're taught to go to school, get good grades, go work for XYZ company for 30 years and get your gold watch. That's what I was taught. My parents were teachers, so they were very strict about education, making sure that I get my degree. But in entrepreneurship, it's so much different than that. It's not about the degree, it's about the results that you get the people that you're serving. People want the social proof. They could care less about your degrees when you're an entrepreneur. They just want you to, did you help me get the result that you promised me at the end of the day? I could care less if you got the education. Did you help me do that?
Mm-hmm.
Did I get some kind of return on the investment?
Right.
So it's just completely a different mindset shift that I guess I didn't realize existed until I was in it. People that work a 9 to 5 job, they're waiting to get off
Mhm.
to do whatever they want to do. I get to do what I want to do all day long, right? It's completely different mind shift.
Yes, it's a totally different mindset. And I love what you said about, sometimes you have to just wait it out. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not instantaneous. So it doesn't
Right.
look like what you thought it would look like.
Yep.
What I'm doing now, even in my business, doesn't look like how, it's just not how it started. But what I'm doing, I am loving it. It's exactly what I want to be doing, at least right now. And I can't tell you how many times I've had to pivot because this
Hmm.
may not have worked and that may
Yep.
not have worked. So when you talk about failing, it's so easy to just say, oh, I quit.
Yeah.
And, it's so easy to do. But when you have that mindset that's like, I'm unstoppable, I can get this right. I just got to fix this and do this, move over here a little bit and, gradually do some more things in there. It's about having that stick to itness,
For
that
sure.
mindset that's telling you, girl, you're going to stick in this thing and you're going to get this thing right. But not only that, the fact that you do enjoy what you're doing and that you don't
Yeah,
have to worry about having to answer to someone else. You love how you spend your day, actually love how you spend your day. And
exactly.
I think that's so important. I mean, you can't beat that, right?
Yeah. And then you get to choose who you want to work with. You couldn't do that working, right?
No, you could not. But that's what's so awesome about purpose. And so many of us, well, we all have a purpose, whether
Right.
we're doing or living our purpose after hours, after our work, on
Hmm.
the weekend, as long as we are making time for our purpose.
Exactly.
I just feel that it's sad when it is our purpose and we don't make the time to do what we were meant to be doing.
Right.
And we don't do it all the time because we have to live to make a living.
Right.
So I just feel like why not make your purpose your living and
Right.
earn some income from it so that you can be doing it because it's what you were meant to be doing anyway, right?
Exactly.
That's just my
Right.
thought on that.
No, I'm with you there. I think a lot of it comes down to people just scared of the
Yeah,
what if.
the
They
what if.
see,
Yeah.
yeah, the norm is to have the 9 to 5 job.
Mm-hmm.
When you think about when it comes to banking, that's what they want you to. They want to know if you're working for someone. When you're working for someone, you could get a job tomorrow and go get a car,
Mm-hmm.
and they will give it to you because you work for XYZ company. But as a business owner, you have to show them 2 years of your income. And I mean, it's just, to me, it's just so backwards the way they do it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could get the job, you could have a job today and be fired next week, but because you had that piece of paper when you went to go get your car, then you got a car. I mean, it's just
It
crazy to me
is crazy.
how it's done that way.
That's a great example of craziness. You're
Yeah.
absolutely right. Is there anything that you would do differently? I mean, if there is, what would that be?
Um, I don't know. When I think about it, I think everything happened the way it should have happened. I may have probably chosen some coaches differently than what I had just because I see it on the back end that they weren't really for me. But I think all of that was a part of the process that because they weren't what I needed them to be, I had to do more myself, which required me to put more of myself into it and still kind of figure it out on my own. Um, and then be able to be more cognizant of hiring coaches now in the future because I had that experience before. So I don't really think I would change anything at this point because I know it was a part of me getting to where I am now.
That is really profound, and thank you for that. That's sometimes what we go through is just necessary for the journey.
Right.
Yeah. Now, what one piece of wisdom would you share right now with someone who is so close to giving up on their purpose? And, we talked about some of those reasons, fear, scared of failure, but they're so close to giving up. What one piece of wisdom would you impart to them?
My thing is, and that's why I want, and I didn't say this earlier, but my thing is when you're in that figuring it out mode, it's very imperative that you write down three things that you're grateful for, even if it's not, even if you haven't reached your desired level yet. Because I think it keeps hope alive. I'll say it that way. Because it lets you know, okay, I'm not where I want to be yet, but I am getting closer and I'm learning stuff as I go. And as a result of that, that's going to be the fuel to me to keep pushing to really make it happen. It's kind of almost similar to like if you were working out and you started losing weight and you were monitoring how much weight you were losing on a weekly basis and you were looking at that and you granted you're not necessarily seeing the results net in your body, but you see that the number is going down, so that's going to make you want to keep doing what you're doing. I see that as the same thing when it comes to your business. That's what keeps the hope. When you look at, well, I'm not where I want to be, of course you're going to be down. But if you look at, okay, I'm not where I want to be, but today I learned how to do my funnel better. I learned that if I changed this messaging, I attracted the type of client that I wanted just by taking some words out. Or, now that I can, I'm on these podcasts now, and now I can really see that my visibility is getting so much better because I'm getting all these backlinks for my website. And now Google is ranking me higher because I am connecting with other folks and people are basically proving that my link is good. So that's the part that I think people that are ready to give up, I think they lose sight of what they're grateful for during the journey. Because at the end of the day, once you hit your goal, what's going to happen? You're going to say, "Oh, I hit my goal." And what you going to do next? You're going to set another goal, and then it's going to start all over again.
Yeah.
It's the journey that you learn and grow and become the person that is meant to do what you're meant to do, but we lose sight of that when we're just solely just focusing on the goal.
Mhm. And, just getting back to what you do and who you serve, when you look at us entrepreneurs, I do remember reading something that I saw on your website where you say that authenticity is your superpower.
Hmm.
And so often we do have to pretend that we're somebody else for a minute, right? I even talk about that in my course a little bit. Do you want to just share some light on that for anybody who right now just might be feeling like I can't do this? This is just too much. I can't do it. And I'm definitely just gonna quit because I just feel like imposter syndrome and everything is happening over here. This is not going.
I can just tell you from experience that I'll give you an example. I remember I had I was in this coaching program and I was working with this guy. He lived over in China and he was like an expert. He was like a 30-year expert, has made all this money. And I had asked him to be a part of this summit that I was doing. I had never done a summit. This is the first time that I had ever done a summit. And somehow I got connected to him. I guess it was one of those, they say that you're 6 degrees from the person that you need to talk to. I had somehow gotten his information and was able to get on a Zoom with him. And during that Zoom, I just asked him if he would be willing to be a part of my summit. And ironically, he said yes. And I was just like, oh my God, he just said yes. But the next thing was we were trying to decide when we were going to do the interview. And y'all, do you know he said like the next day? You talk about somebody scared out of their wits. I'm thinking,
Trying
oh
to
my
figure
God.
out what this interview is going to look
He
like.
said the next day, and I got to do this the next day. So I was just like, okay, Inga,
Yeah, right.
we got to do this. You got to make this happen. And ironically, it went well. It went really well. I mean, I prepared and had questions and everything,
Mhm.
but I was scared out of my wits. But it was one of those things that I was so glad that I did it and not let my fear keep me from doing something. I felt the fear and did it anyway. And I think that's what we have to do. We have to push ourselves out of those comfort zones. And when you get on the other side, it builds your courage muscle or your confidence muscle that allows you that when you have something like that happens again, you like revert back, you think back and was like, okay, well, I did that. Then I can do this. And it just makes you more of the person that you're supposed to become. And if we just keep staying where we are, doing the same thing in our comfort zone, we'll never grow that way. We'll never be that person that God meant for us to be, to really truly walk out our purpose. So we almost have to put ourselves in those uncomfortable positions and rise to the occasion because that's how we become who we're meant to become. We're not going to be that same, we can't be that same person scrambling to make money when you first start your business. That's not the person that's going to be the millionaire 5 years from now, right? You have to evolve from that point. That person is not going to make the $1 million. The person that you become over time is going to be the person that makes that $1 million. And that's why you have to step out.
Oh, I like that example. Yeah, I can imagine how scary that would have been. I know I would have felt the same exact way. Let me put this on my calendar, give me some time to work on it, get it
Yeah,
together
exactly. He was just like, oh, well, we can do this
tomorrow.
tomorrow. Oh, okay, okay. I was just like, okay, yeah, we sure can.
Talking about putting an entrepreneur on, I mean, an introvert
Introvert,
on the
yes.
spot. Yes. So what do you say that purpose looks like?
I think purpose, I know when I started this, I felt such a strong sense of peace that I was doing the right thing. And I really, when it comes to decisions that I'm making, I always wait to if and to make sure that I feel that because I know that if I feel that peace from within, I know that I'm doing what I was supposed to be doing.
Hmm.
So to me, it's just that feeling of peace and knowing that that's what God wants me to do.
Mm, I like that. I
And
like.
then it's more of it's also a somewhat of an intuition kind of thing too, that it's just like, yeah, this is what I'm supposed to do. This feels right to me.
It just feels right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can definitely relate to that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's a great thing when you're living in your purpose. You just know you're doing what you were meant to be doing. But what I always say is don't live right there because you can even get comfortable in your
Oh
purpose
yeah, you can. You
because
can.
I just believe that God, I'm a woman of faith, and I believe that God always has somewhere He wants to elevate you to the
Hmm.
next level. And we get someplace and we're comfortable, we're loving it, and we just want to stay right there. But there's always another level. I mean, God is limitless. There could
Yeah.
be so many levels to this thing. And if we get too comfortable where we are, we'll still miss some of those opportunities. And like I said, I back in 2020, I started out thinking one thing and it's completely different today. So we never want to get comfortable where we are.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I totally agree with that. That's why you can't you can't use your introversion as a limitation. You want to use it as an advantage. And that's why I call it the Introvert Advantage Accelerator, because I want you to use
Accelerator.
your introversion as a superpower, not as a limitation. Your natural curiosity as introverts, that the natural we ask questions, we are focusing more on the other person than focusing on ourselves, coming from that place of service, really being able to observe people and read between the lines, knowing they're not saying this, but I know that this is what they mean. Like I can remember a family member coming to me and they're telling me about this coat. Oh, this coat is really nice and I really would love to have it. And I think it would be an excellent asset to so and so and so. And I was thinking, okay, so you want me to help you get it? I mean, I know that that's where that was leading to, but the question was not being asked. And it was just obvious. Okay, you keep talking about this coat. You're telling me about it. This
Mhm.
is obviously what you want me to do. But the person didn't ask me. But because I was reading in between the lines, and they were like, well, yeah, that's what I want you to do. But we have that sense. We have that way of just knowing and being able to empathize with people and
Mhm.
knowing where they're coming from. And then just that natural knack of just being able to create
Mhm.
based on what people have told us, our listening skills, honing into exactly what people want. And they feel seen, they feel heard, and they feel understood. And as a result of that, they build that trust with you that they want to work with you and
Mhm.
because they feel like she heard me. She wasn't just talking to me like I was a number. She understood exactly what I was said because she rattled it right back to me and then gave me a solution based on what I told her.
Mhm.
That's what people want. And that's how we can really use it for our superpower, where we don't have to be someone that we're not. But still know you're going to have those times, like I just mentioned about that interview, where you're going to be pushed.
Mhm.
But as a result of you being pushed, that's what's going to make you much better for the next thing. That's going to be a little bit bigger than that for the
Mhm.
next time.
I love that. I love that. I did, I got through this. Surely I can do this too, and then you'll be looking back at, oh yeah, I did that.
Yeah. Yep.
Awesome examples. I love it. Do you have any other tidbits about purpose that you'd like to share, Inga?
Yeah, I would just want to tell people just to start. It does not have to be pretty. It just has to be did. That's what it comes down to. I had a mentor that used to tell us that all the time.
Mm.
So it's just so important to start. Starting is normally the hardest part of the journey. And once you start, you're just like, that was it. That's all. That's all I had to do. I really thought it was gonna be like I was gonna die something. But it was just that one little step. So take the step.
Right.
Take the first step because once you take that first step, you'll find out what the next step is. But you're not going to find out what the second step is until you take the first. So you have to take the first step to see what the next one is. That would be my advice.
Awesome advice. Now, how can people get in touch with you for your offerings?
Yeah, so you can go to my website. It's ingafay.com. That's Ingaf as in Frank, ay.com. That has all of my offerings. It will take you to my coaching programs and all the other offers that I had mentioned to you. That's kind of my hub.
Awesome. Sounds great, Inga. Listen, I thank you so much for being here today. Such wonderful information. I love talking with you. Glad we had this opportunity, and I'm wishing you all the best in your business journey.
Yes, same to you, Sylvia. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. You have just listened to Streaming with a Purpose with your host, Sylvia Montgomery. Thank you so much for listening and continue to stay tuned for our next episode. Until then, bye bye.